Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for our social media webinar brought to you by TicketForce. We are TicketForce's marketing partner, Serendipit Consulting, and we are very excited to share some great information with you about new social media trends in 2015 and how they can ultimately help you sell more tickets. If at any point during today's webinar you have a question or comment for us, please feel free to send a tweet to @TicketForce with the hashtag TFWebinar, and we will be more than happy to answer your question as quickly as we can. Today, we will be covering everything you need to know about projected social media trends for 2015. We will discuss everything from Facebook and Twitter to email strategies and even what not to do this year. Before we get into new trends that are predicted to dominate this year, we are going to cover a quick overview of what happened in 2014. It's always important to look at where you've been before planning where you're going in the future. First off, we want to note how important the integration of visuals and graphics have been this last year. Gone are the days of just plain text in an email or social media post. With the influx of content flooding the news feeds and timelines of social media users, marketers had to devise a plan to get their content to stand out and simplify their messages. Visuals and graphics eventually became the answer. It has also been proven that people are more responsive to visual content, which is just another reason marketers began to incorporate images, graphics, and videos into their content. Visual content makes users more likely to share it, and it is shareability that leads to buzz and viral content. Next, paid social media options really began to develop, changing the way organizations strategize to reach their target audiences. Social media sites like Facebook and Twitter began offering paid advertising options to organizations in 2014 in order to receive a competitive edge. Paid social media campaigns, Twitter ads, Facebook ads, and boosted posts are just a few ways organizations paid to stand out and make a name in the midst of the noise. And this is really something you're going to have to start doing because as more and more brands become active on social media, it's really hard for your content to be seen. And if you're not paying, your content's not going to be reaching the people you want to reach. And in case you're still a little confused about the difference, paid advertising on social media is very similar to traditional advertising. The organization pays for a social media channel, such as Facebook or Twitter, to promote its content in advertising spaces or to a specific group of people. Organizations can set filters based on location, gender, interest, age, and much more, so that its paid posts only show up in front of people that fit within its target market. And you can really narrow these down. You can base it on different pages that maybe your fans would already like. Just the options are really endless here. 2014 was really the year of bigger content with a clear and direct purpose, a trend that's going to be carried into 2015. As we already mentioned, content should be interactive by way of visuals. The whole goal of a content-based strategy is shareability, so marketers and organizations must create content that is interesting and provoking. Remember to think big. When planning out content marketing, keep current fans in mind. According to Andrew Howlett from RAIN, a digital agency with offices in New York, Utah, and Nicaragua, companies need to focus on the fans they have had and not the fans they want. If your message is always trying to reach out, you'll bore the fans that have chosen to connect with you. It is just as important to keep your existing fans engaged as it is to reach out to new ones. One of the final trends of 2014 that we would like to highlight is real-time content. After Oreo's genius tweet during the 2013 Super Bowl power outage, real-time content has been on the rise. The only issue with real-time content is the fact that it is where coincidence and wit collide, and a lot of organizations have had bad timing with that. You've seen a lot of examples of people trying to really newsjack and take advantage of a story that's going on and it comes off in a negative way. Sometimes they try to jump into something that was kind of negative and it just makes the company look really bad. So that's something you really need to watch and make sure that you're doing it in an appropriate way that isn't offending anyone.
Also make sure you keep a track of the hashtag itself and what that hashtag really means and the purpose behind it. You don't want to be engaging on something just because it's trending, just to get your company out there if it doesn't really fit with your organization and your goals and what you stand for.
So really keep in mind that real-time content isn't something that can be forced. And that's why this trend will more than likely stay in 2015. You just need to make sure you're doing it right.
Now that we're up to speed with past trends, it's time to look forth into what's up next for the world of social media. We'll be covering a lot of information all across the social media spectrum, so listen closely and don't be afraid to jot down some notes. Not only is 2015 an open door to new trend, but it's also a chance for your organization to seize the day and become a social media mastermind. It's time to cover 2015 trends. Let's begin with content marketing. This phrase has been thrown around a lot recently, but does anyone really know exactly what it means? Content marketing is defined by contentmarketinginstitute.com is a marketing technique of creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and acquire a clearly defined audience with the objective of driving profitable customer action. Although the definition of content marketing seems a lot like common sense, you would be surprised how many organizations post and share things that really have no value at all. Pay attention to the following stat because it will help illustrate the high volume of content that is created each day. There is more content being created in 48 hours than what was produced from the beginning of time until 2003. Isn't that nuts? And to try and reinforce this number, that is more than 2 million blog posts published every single day. Pretty impressive, isn't it? So how exactly do you create content that gets 2.5 times more views per week than it did when it first launched? We'll explain. First off, you must determine exactly who your target audience is. Keep in mind that your audience is not just your current customer base. It's also those potential customers. And an effective way to determine who your target is to create a customer profile or a buyer persona. And you can do this from contacting your current clients and in doing surveys or maybe some prospect interviews to really gather that information. Monitoring your online traffic and analyzing your data from your keyword research and other methods can really help you build these as well. Once you establish who is already interested in your company and who might have potential interest, you can use those personas to create content that speaks to them. After all, the key to your content is to help your customers help themselves to make purchases with you. Next, become aware of what stages of the sales cycle your prospects are in. The stages of the sales cycles are the awareness stage, consideration stage, and the decision stage. These are all pretty self-explanatory, but the one thing that sometimes organizations forget is that your content should be able to appeal to people that are in each of these stages as well. This means that you should create everything from blog posts, infographics, webinars, and white papers that all fit into these different categories. For the awareness stage, think of what would drive those live demonstrations and the demo content that would even appeal to those people that might be in the decision stage and everything else that's in between. Once these two steps have been completed, it's now time to create your content. Keep in mind that longer content ranks higher in Google search than other shorter content. According to the Content Marketing Institute, content that's more than 3,000 words is shared 2 or 3 times more than content that is less than 1,000 words. It also gets you more inbound links, oftentimes, which is better for your search engine optimization, or SEO. The final steps include promoting your content on social media and analyzing results. Once your content goes live, your organization should be promoting it on social media to your audience. A few ways to do so are through email marketing and different social media campaigns. The final step from there is to measure that success and to see the success of that content and analyze the progress online. You should be able to track page views, keywords, leads, readability, and shareability from your favorite social media platforms and tracking devices. If your organization wants to see success this year, jump on the content marketing bandwagon and create content that's going to be fresh and exciting for your fans and followers. That's really going to make the biggest impact for you and your organization.
And now that you have a good understanding of how content marketing will really be taking over this year, we will now dive into trends that will be seen on Facebook. Of course, trends that popped up during 2014, such as paid advertisements and a focus on visual content, will continue to exist. There are some new tactics that will also be added. If you are not already aware, Facebook has removed the ability to like-gate your page. A like-gate required users to like a Facebook page before they were able to enter a contest or gain access to content on a particular landing page. This change happened late in 2014, which upset a lot of people because it was a great way to get likes, but it's also great because marketers are now becoming more creative in the ways in which they're finding in which they're making Facebook fans really like the page organically.
This helps you make sure that you're really reaching the people that actually want to like you and not just getting somebody to like you because they want to enter a contest or some other kind of ploy. So it's really that more, it adds value.
And we also like to think of it this way. Like-gates really scattered results, and it was difficult to track whether a user liked an organization's page because of true interest or because artificial incentive. So either way, now marketers are really encouraged to gain followers more organically, and it's proven to be more effective to target the right people in a more ethical way, not forcing them to do something they don't want to do. The removal of like-gates might affect some of your analytics and the way you implement social media contests now. However, there are many more creative ways to entice customers and prospects. So you really got to get your gears spinning and think of some new ways to do this. For example, your organization could implement a social media contest through different apps like OfferPop or WooBox. If it is traffic you are more concerned about, look back on your notes from our content marketing section and get brainstorming. We've used both of these apps several times for a lot of different clients we've worked with, and they're really great. It allows you to track everything. They both have analytics, and we definitely recommend them. It's a lot easier than trying to run a contest without an app just on your page. So the next new thing to take over Facebook are the call to action buttons. This is a really recent change, and you'll see the button located in a prominent location at the top of the page to the left of the like button. The call to action button was created in an effort to drive more traffic from a Facebook page to a website. This is great if you're looking at Google Analytics and your referral traffic from social media. I definitely think you're going to see a huge increase if you add one of these call to action buttons. The button is extremely easy to set up. All you have to do is decide which pre-made option aligns best with your organization. You can choose from the following: book now, contact us, use app, play game, shop now, sign up, watch video. If you're looking to sell tickets, you're most likely going to put the shop now button on there. And this is great because anyone who visits your Facebook page can easily just click your cover photo and it'll take them right to your ticketing website. Organizations who have already been granted access to this call to action button have seen a dramatic increase in conversion rates. Dollar Shave Club is a great example. They tested out this button, and over the course of a 3-week testing period, they saw a 2.5 times increase in conversion rates. This new feature will most definitely change the way organizations position themselves on Facebook because it is a way to track and develop a relationship between an organization's website and social media sites, specifically Facebook. Once it becomes available to you, implement your very own call to action button and see how it transforms your conversions. Be sure to go into Google Analytics, set up some goals for conversions through social media, and really do everything you can to get people to click that. Maybe create a custom landing page where you can drive them to with a contact form. That way, when you receive leads from the contact form, you'll know they came directly from Facebook. In order to further explain how this concept relates to ticketing, we will go through an example using WWE NXT. Let's say that WWE has a huge event coming up that they need to sell tickets for, and they want to target customers using a multi-platform approach. With the Facebook integrated call to action button, WWE can use the buy now option and link the button to their TicketForce ticketing site. This also allows WWE to track leads through the call to action specific analytics tab on the side of their Facebook page. In essence, the call to action button aids tremendously in the ticket sales lifecycle. Next, Twitter brought big changes to the social media world as well in 2014, and launching last year, Twitter Analytics will be a huge factor in measuring results this year. Twitter Analytics have also just been reported to be accessible in its mobile app, a highly important feature due to the growing popularity and mobile adoption rates. Twitter Analytics give a comprehensive look into the successes and failures seen in a Twitter business account. There are many components to Twitter Analytics that we will now explain. And here's just a quick screenshot of their new dashboard. We found it really helpful. This image also kind of, if you want to take a screenshot now, or you can also view this webinar once we upload it to YouTube, but it really gives you an explanation of what everything is on here. Everything from the metrics tab, campaign grouping, etc. Really outlines what everything is. So first, the Tweets tab is home to most of the basic and fundamental interactions that marketers look at to determine success. It is there that you will find impressions and engagement rate for each tweet, no matter if it was paid or unpaid. So if you were familiar with how Twitter Analytics worked previously, they would only really give you reports on any tweets that were paid. And now you can see analytics for both, which is great. You'll also see the engagement rate includes retweets, follows, replies, favorites, and clicks. So that's kind of all categorized into your overall engagement rate.
This is great to really track that organic traffic that's happening on your page, whether it's somebody who is interacting with your content, a potential or current customer, or anything else for your organization as far as just to see the health of your Twitter account. It doesn't just track that paid activity anymore like Chelsea mentioned.
Next, in the tweet details view, you can see a total number of impressions by the hour for the first 24 hours, which simply just expands upon the Tweets tab, but for individual tweets. This feature will help your organization see what type of content has gained the most impressions, which in turn will help your organization in the creation of content calendars. Content calendars are something we use, and it's basically just a list of planned content for the month that your organization will post to Twitter, Facebook, etc. It's a way to really meet with your team internally and make sure you're promoting everything on the appropriate days, making sure to give a big push whenever tickets go on sale, the last day before they increase in price, etc. Finally, Twitter Analytics have implemented a Followers tab where you can gain information about your Twitter followers. With this tab, you have the ability to track their locations, interests, and gender. This information is helpful for many reasons, but most importantly for creating content. By paying attention to your follower demographic and recording your most successful tweets, you should start to see a trend in what content really resonates best with your followers. This will allow you to create the most successful marketing strategy using this channel. Next, email marketing is just as important as social media and is an absolute must in ticketing. Plain and simple, if you are not sending emails to your potential patrons and even current patrons, you are missing out on ticket sales. As with other social media channels, email marketing campaigns are shifting from text-based to image-based. While this trend shows positive numbers with nearly 2/3 of respondents in a HubSpot.com survey saying that they preferred mostly image-based emails versus mostly text-based emails, it's crucial that you do not overload your readers with images. Find the right balance of images and text to avoid a decrease in click-through rates. You don't want to confuse them with too many different graphics because they won't know which to click. And finding this balance could mean that you experiment with different layouts and structures and send out emails in an A/B test format until you find a mix that resonates well with your email contacts. Your A/B test should also measure timing so that you are certain your messages are being received well. Next, mobile adaptation is another big trend in 2015, especially with email. Have you ever received an email that looked perfect on your desktop, but when you tried opening it on a smartphone or tablet, it looked like a completely different email? Make sure your organization isn't making this mistake. Work with your email marketing platform to create emails that look flawless no matter where they are opened. And a lot of email programs actually now offer this capability when you go into preview mode. You're typically able to view it on a desktop, or they have a little iPhone that pops up and you can see how it looks on a mobile device. And this is really important, especially considering how many people these days are opening emails on a phone. You don't want to have so much on there that they miss the call to action in your email. And if you are a little unsure as to if mobile adaptation is important or not, listen up as we share these stats. 57% of individuals who took a HubSpot survey reported reading their emails on their phones, and 33% reported reading emails on tablets. This shift in technology is clearly very important to pay attention to. It's a big change, and you need to make sure that your strategy is updated to reflect this and that people are going to pay attention to the emails you're sending. To round out our discussion on email marketing trends, we will touch on call to action buttons. So just as we discussed this with Facebook, It's really important for email communication as well. It's something that organizations often miss, and it's a must. You have to include this. Without this element, your email is borderline useless because the reader doesn't know what to do next. Great, you have an event coming up, but if you don't have a ticket or if you don't have a button that says buy tickets now, they might not know where to go, they might forget about it, and hopefully they'll see it on your Facebook page or somewhere else as a reminder. Make it loud and clear what you want your readers to do with their new knowledge. Do you want them to contact you, buy tickets, share the information on social media, sign up for a promotion or contest? Let them know using a button linked to the end goal like the one used in the example on this slide. And you also want to make sure that you're properly tracking this so that you can see how many tickets you sold from social media versus your email campaigns. Facebook, Twitter, and email campaigns are not the only channels that have new trends for 2015. Let's not forget about Pinterest, Foursquare, and the new branch off of Foursquare, Swarm.
We'll start with Pinterest. So in 2015, Pinterest also jumped on that analytics bandwagon and is really now providing pages with more keen insight to what the extreme value is, with their platform and how that's making a difference for social media users. This is really jumping into the trend that we're seeing on all the pages, and Pinterest is right in line with that. In order for analytics on Pinterest to work, you must be logged in as a Pinterest business account. These accounts are free to use, and they're great for small and medium-sized organizations. If you do not already use Pinterest for your organization, or if you just use a regular user account, this year is a great time to take the plunge and make the switch. It'll end up being a little more valuable for you, and we'll tell you why. Pinterest analytics they're only available on those business pages, and they're really useful to organizations because it provides that insight into the number of users who are engaging with your pins, including, what country a user's from, interests on both Pinterest and elsewhere, and if they have a pin it button installed on their browser, you can tell a lot more information about that person. A pin it button is not something that is required of a Pinterest user, but it does add convenience by allowing a user to take an action and pin something they can see while browsing the internet. They might be shopping, looking at a ticketing site, and pinning that to their board to remind them to go and purchase later. And that's a great way for you to track more information about them on the back end from a business page. Another new trend for Pinterest in 2015 is rich pins. Rich pins are amplified pins, and they are super cool. They include more information within the pin itself, so it's a better way to grab a captive audience and tell them more about your products and what you're offering right there and then. There are 5 types of rich pins: movie, recipe, article, product, and place. For ticketing purposes, your organization would focus on a product and place pins. Product-rich pins could be ticketing information from events, concerts, festivals, or anything else your organization represents. They include real-time pricing, availability, and where to buy. So it really gives your visitors all the information that they need right on Pinterest. Pinners also get notifications when product pins they've added drop in price, which is an awesome feature to give ticket buyers added convenience during the ticketing process, as they could easily browse Pinterest for available tickets, purchase directly from the site, and also be updated if a price changes. On the other hand, place pins include an address, map, and phone number. This is perfect for promoting your venue and the location of the events you have to offer. We bet Pinterest did not seem like a useful social media platform for your organization at first, but with analytics and these awesome rich pins, your creative content can really help boost ticket sales and make it really easy for your target audience to get information about the events and offerings that your organization has. Moving on, it's time to get all the details on Foursquare, a go-to app for check-ins and location sharing, and its new spin-off app, Swarm. Foursquare developers decided that splitting the app into 2 would make for a more positive push and keep the app relevant in the social space with all these new offerings that are coming to the table. So Swarm now really intends to serve as the app for those check-ins, and Foursquare is more so providing recommendations for bars, restaurants, and other places. Think of Foursquare a lot like Yelp. The popular features that have kept users engaged, like earning badges, competing with other friends, and earning mayorships, have been removed from Foursquare, and they're not actually found on Swarm, but you still have that ability to check in on Swarm and share your location with your friends and followers. Swarm is definitely something to be aware of to make appropriate changes if your organization was in any way affiliated with Foursquare. Check out Foursquare and Swarm to see if they complement your organization's social strategy.
Now that we have informed you about the up-and-coming trends in social media marketing for 2015, it is important that we now look at the flip side and discuss what not to do. In a blog from HubSpot, it is quoted that you've got to be ruthless about cutting ineffective tactics from your marketing so you can focus on the effective ones. In other words, avoiding social media trends that are out of style, so to speak, will keep your organization top of mind with current and potential patrons. In addition, you will avoid embarrassing mishaps that could have decreased your organization's value in the eye of consumers. If you're finding that maybe Twitter's not working to help you sell tickets and you know that because you're tracking everything in Google Analytics, then don't use it. You don't have to use every single social media outlet that's available. You want to use the ones that are working for you and where your patrons are at. First, real-time marketing should only be used when it's appropriate. Ever since the Oreo tweet that we discussed earlier, organizations everywhere have been jumping on the opportunity to hijack hashtags and topics in hopes of a viral post. We've seen a lot of negative things that have happened with this, and the issues with this are insensitivity and, frankly, content that just doesn't make sense. You don't want to confuse people. If your attempt at real-time marketing serves your audience at the right place and time, more power to you. But if it is just an attempt to go viral and it is not well thought out, then it might be better to skip this type of promotion. Next, do some evaluating this year and cut out social platforms that don't yield the results your organization is working tirelessly for. Did you know most organizations engage on more than 6 social networking platforms on a regular basis? While it is good to try and engage as much as possible, it is true that your audience is probably not following you on every single platform out there. Especially depending on the types of events you have, one social media outlet might not be relevant for your patrons. And you need to just kind of come to terms with that and cut your loss. This method of marketing could spread your content too thin. HubSpot reports that you should make it your goal to take a look at your metrics to see which platform is underperforming and then slowly wean yourself off of it. No cold turkey here. Next, just because you create great content and post it on social media doesn't mean it'll be discovered. Don't just sit around and wait for users to engage with your content. Put in the work and go after it. Great results don't just fall into your lap. You must promote it well to gain the reach you desire. A few ways to do so include building email lists and creating email campaigns, pitching your content to reporters and influencers, and utilizing paid options like boosted posts on Facebook or promoted tweets on Twitter. Like we said earlier, really paid advertising on social media is going to be huge in 2015. And if you're not doing it, you're not going to get the results you want. You're not going to be selling tickets through social media because you really need to do those. And if you're thinking that it's going to kind of blow your budget, that's wrong. I mean, some boosted posts, you can spend $20 on it and you'll see great results from that. The fourth and final item to avoid this year is stock photos. They can be cheesy, and if you do utilize stock photo options, you are not the only organization who has access to them. Your content is more personal and organic when your organization avoids the overly cheesy photos. Doing so will help you gain higher click-through rates and avoid boring your audience. Get pictures, have a professional photographer come out and really take pictures at your organization. You don't want people to think that fans that you're sending out there are actually your fans if they're not. You really want to be able to show your venue and promote your fans. Even maybe spotlight some fans that have come to several events at your organization and pull in some user-generated content here.
It really helps give your organization more of a personal touch and really makes you more relatable. So having that personal connection of what they can really expect or what's really going on behind the scenes, fans love to see that. Now we're going to take you through the top 3 things to remember since you're now experts in those top trends in social media marketing for 2015. Here's a recap. First, content marketing is the way of the future. Create relevant content that will inform readers and keep them engaged. Content marketing can be achieved through successful analysis of your audience and the creation of lengthy pieces that will strike their fancy. The keyword here really is length. Remember, we talked about content that is 3,000 words or more will aid in SEO and will get you more inbound links. Once you create the content, you must promote it across multiple platforms and then analyze your results to update your tactics. Second, your social media efforts this year should be more visual than ever before, especially for content marketing or email marketing campaigns. It's proven that social media consumers respond better to visual content like photos or even video. Visuals are more stimulating and attractive to social media consumers. So as always, you have to do your research and see what your consumers and patrons like. But a good rule of thumb is that visuals really do help organizations of any kind stand out and really simplify your messages to get your points across to that target. Finally, pay attention to social media platform updates, including insights provided by analytics, like on Twitter and Pinterest, which we covered earlier, and the new call to action buttons on Facebook. Analytics on Twitter and Pinterest highlight important behavior trends regarding published content and your organization's audience. The call to action on Facebook drives users from Facebook to your preferred direct destination, and this really aids in that increase in those conversion rates that you want to see as an organization. We discussed a lot of information about a variety of different social media platforms today, and we want to make sure you understand that within the ticketing industry, there are many opportunities to reach customers using social media platforms. You might be thinking to yourself, how many platforms should I use? Or am I only allowed to use just one? The truth is, there are no rules. We suggest using more than one platform and really come up with a strategy that allows you to use all of your social media platforms cohesively. We have found that using more than one platform to cross-promote on all outlets really helps you gain the most engagement and influence with ticket buyers.
We hope that the information discussed in today's webinar will help your organization jumpstart effective social media strategies for the year. As always, we will be selecting 2 lucky winners who attended our webinar to win a Starbucks gift card. Be sure to check your email to see if you won. If you have a question about today's webinar, feel free to contact us via Facebook or Twitter. Also, if there is a social media outlet or topic you'd like to see us discuss in a future webinar, send a tweet to @TicketForce. We are open to suggestions and would love to provide you with content that you're looking to see. Thank you for attending today's webinar. We hope to see you again at our next one. Make sure to stay tuned to Facebook for updates on